All right, let's do a little play in 4 acts, shall we?
Sure.
We're going to probably ultimately need a tear sheet to do the 4th act. But here's the 1st act. It's Elon Musk. Oh, you got it. Okay, Elon Musk on Tucker Carlson's show on X. Is Tucker Carlson still on X?
I think so.
No, that was from a while ago.
He's not still on it?
Or 24.
He's not still on doing a show with
the
Twitter?
X is out of the logo. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'll double check.
Very quietly, he went away. Maybe. Here's Elon Musk on that show. This is in, I feel like, the summer of 2024. Less than a year ago. Maybe, a little less than a year ago. And here is Elon Musk with a prediction about what's going to happen when Donald Trump gets into office.
You know, I think part of why Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman?
Oh, do you think Reid Hoffman's on that list? All right. Well, that explains why Harris was getting all
the billionaire money.
Billionaire money was because they were so afraid of the Epstein list coming out.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey.
And now let's go to Pam Bondi.
In February.
This is early February. The heat is on. Less than 3 weeks after Donald Trump's in office. Sorry, Kamala Harris's billionaires. Your day is about to end or come up or whatever.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
All right, well, let's check back with her and see if there's anything there. Didn't like Kash Patel and somebody else go on somewhere? And
Dan Bongino, I believe.
Yeah. Do we have another clip? We have another clip of Pam Bondi, right? This is 21. This is on Sean Hannity's show. This is just 3 weeks later in February.
1 second.
But yeah, Kash Patel went out and said nothing to see here, basically. Oh, he killed himself. He killed himself. He killed himself.
Wait. You're ruining the
I didn't
narrative.
know. Oh.
It's a 4-part narrative. This
I'm
is
sorry.
Number 3.
I'm sorry.
Pam Bondi.
To get us everything, and a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m. Thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Kash is also, now that we have Kash here, it's a game changer, of course, and Kash is going to, Director Patel, is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay, I want to be clear because I think people got frustrated because they were expecting more. You were expecting more.
Oh, pause it now
and you
for a
didn't
second.
find out less than 24 hours before the release.
Pause it for a second. Now, understand, he's referring to the big show that the Trumpistas put on with their binders. Remember Mike Cernovich and Laura Loomer coming out of the White House with the binders saying, look at these documents we have. And they were actually just documents that were already made public and even more redacted than the first time that they were made public. We've got this new binders with even more redaction. But here she is. Here's Hannity talking about the frustration. Remember, this is all the way back in February when all of the lunatic Trumpy people were really jazzed about the Epstein files because it was going to show the one world cabal and the Clintons and all the scumbags. And then at one point, people started realizing, wait, what if Trump's in there? Because he was his best friend. Go ahead.
more. You were expecting more, and you didn't find out less than 24 hours before the release. You got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over, and then you found out just before that.
Well, sure. And you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. You know, there were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff? And that's what the FBI had turned over to us. And so a source said, whoa, all this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York. Yeah. So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI. Cash is going to get me and himself, really, a detailed report as to why all these documents and evidence had been withheld. And, you know, we're going to go through it as fast as we can, but go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims of Epstein, because there are a lot of victims.
Well, you had identified in phase one over 254.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, is that the only thing that would be redacted? Will everything else be made public that you get in your possession?
Yeah, the FBI hasn't had, obviously, they haven't looked at the thousands of pages of documents that they've just received Friday. Yeah. But Cash has a team going through them, and it's always about protecting the victim. But you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know. The Biden administration sat on these documents. No one did anything with them. And why were they sitting in the Southern District of New York? I want a full report on that. You know, sadly, these people don't believe in transparency. But I think more, unfortunately, I think a lot of them don't believe in honesty. And it's a new day. It's a new administration. And everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
And that goes the same with the JFK files, RFK files,
Martin
MLK.
Luther King. Yep, absolutely.
What are the things that, and maybe some people don't understand the need to redact. In the case of a victim, that should be pretty obvious to people.
Pause it for a second. What I love here is he is about to say, like, well, you're probably going to have to redact the president's name. Like, people don't understand it. Remember when Donald Trump was like, oh, we're going to release the JFK files. Epstein files, yeah, but probably not, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to do it because innocent people get injured.
The reason the Biden administration didn't release this is because they didn't make it a core campaign promise. They were smart enough to know that actually some of this has like blackmail material, most likely collected via Mossad and stuff like that, that the FBI says we can absolutely not release. So we're not going to make it a campaign issue that we're going to run on. That's why they're in this situation here, is because they can't release this information because it's too juicy, and they're not actually interested in dismantling our security, our national security state.
Let's see Hannity sort of like explain why. We understand why victims would have to be redacted, but why would you ever redact perpetrators?
And maybe some people don't understand the need to redact. In the case of a victim, that should be pretty obvious to people. What are the other things that maybe you'd have to redact?
Well,
national security?
No, of course. National security, some grand jury information, which is always going to be confidential. But we'll see. Let's look through them as fast as we can, get it out to the American people, because the American people have a right to know, not only on that, but on Kennedy, on Martin Luther King, on all of these cases that the Biden administration has just sat on for all these years. So yeah, it's really, it's not sad. It's infuriating that these people thought that they could sit on this information, but they can't. It's a new day.
Let's see. It's a new day. What is the information that the Biden people have been sitting on? What is the refusal to tell the truth that the Biden people have been sitting on? What's this?
Oh, exclusive. DOJ FBI conclude Epstein had no client list, died by suicide. Oh.
Let's scroll up a little bit. This is a memo, apparently, that has been leaked to Axios. Now, again, Axios is not too dissimilar from Politico in that when stuff gets leaked to them, it's always for a reason. In this instance, it's almost as if, like, you were to look at the front page of the paper and, or let's just say, go to Google News, for instance, and the bill that cuts Medicaid, the bill that cuts Medicare, the bill that cuts SNAP, the bill that cuts back on college loans, the bill that puts 10,000 new ICE people on the street, the bill that puts $100 billion annually into defense, it's almost like pushed off the front page. It's weird. Somebody leaked this, that the Justice Department and the FBI have concluded they have no evidence that convicted sex offender, disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to the memo obtained by Axios. What interesting timing.
It's so interesting.
So interesting. The administration is releasing a video, both raw and enhanced versions, that says it indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held during the night he died in 2019.
Which is interesting because the first piece of news that we got after he died was that saying that basically the cameras had been
Turned off. That's weird. The findings represent the first time Trump's administration officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and death. Theories that had been pushed by FBI's two top officials before Trump appointed them to the Bureau. That being Cash and Dan Bongino. They were among those in MAGA world who questioned the official version of how Epstein died. They have since said Epstein killed himself.
Which also is still possible. The question is, how did he have the means to do that? Like, it doesn't necessarily need to have been a murder or a hit. It could have been, you know what you've got to do. Here are the materials. Here's where these cameras are turned off, X, Y, and Z. And in that clip, she said that they had truckloads of evidence and referred to the February one, where she said that the list was on her desk. But now they're claiming publicly that there's no list. So which one is it? Donald Trump was quoted in New York Magazine in 2002. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Then you have audio of Epstein saying Trump and claiming before his death that they were best friends.
Well, I mean, a lot of people probably say that about Donald Trump.
By the way, who was president when Jeffrey Epstein died?
It must have been Biden.
No.
What? That's weird.
It was Trump. It was Trump. Pam Bondi, Julie K. Brown, who's like the investigative reporter down in Florida that uncovered a lot of this, tweeted back in February around this time. It's interesting to note that Pam Bondi was Florida's attorney general from 2011 to 2019, a period of time when Jeffrey Epstein's plane records became public, victims' lawsuits were filed, and a lot of new evidence against Epstein surfaced. So questions should be asked about why she didn't take up the case or launch a probe when she was attorney general of Florida.
That is so strange. Well, it's not like that Trump, I don't know.
Acosta?
Appointed a labor secretary who was the guy who actually gave Jeffrey Epstein his first sweetheart plea deal. That's weird. Acosta was a U.S. attorney under the Bush administration and gave Epstein immunity from federal prosecution and allowed him to plead guilty to lesser state charges.
That's such a coincidence that he appointed both Florida attorney generals who let Jeffrey Epstein slide to prominent posts in his administration. I don't know, a little odd.
I suppose there's you're going to claim it's a similar coincidence to the increase in measles and the greatest amount of measles we've gotten, and the fact that 93% of the people who've contracted them were not vaccinated.
How about the fact that the guy who was on not Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein's defense team was also on Donald Trump's defense team, one Alan Dershowitz, who...
What?
I saw over the weekend has been spending his time or his retirement. Still, he's an activist for his number one pet issue, which is that the age of consent laws are way, way too high. Not even joking. He's emboldened enough to make that argument right now.
Wow.
He kept his underwear on.
Wait, what was that?
Yes, that's his claim about his massages with Epstein, is that he kept his underwear on.
Well,
Trump wished Ghislaine
I don't know.
Maxwell well.
I don't know. I recently bought this completely not appropriate. I mean, not related to this, but I recently my favorite pair of underwear company. They've run out of underwear, so I had to buy a new one. It was like a British brand. And it is the first pair of underwear I've owned where it does not have like a hole in the front so that you can urinate. And I don't know why that comes to mind when Alan Dershowitz says I kept my underwear on.
Oh, yeah, it's
That's
very
not
specific.
exactly what we would call in law school exculpatory.
Not exactly.
It's all a distraction from the MLK files. Though.
You're right. They care so much about that.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.